you guys, welcome to my little paintbrush. My name is Miss Cami and I'm so excited to be able to paint this cute little lamb with you. So no matter where you are today or what tools you are using, I hope you enjoy this painting and I hope you remember not to be too hard on yourself because all of our little lambs will be different, okay? So just enjoy the creative process and whatever comes, okay? Let's get started with a big flat brush. And of course we have to get it wet first. Loosen up our bristles really good. And you can tap or drag off the extra water, okay? Now we're gonna go right to our background, which is a fun turquoise color. So here is my plate with all my paints on it. You can see I've got my turquoise right there, but I wanna lighten it up just a bit. So I'm gonna pull some white and turquoise together and I'm just gonna start mixing that pretty rough. I don't need it to be combined super well, but I'm trying to keep in mind that my paint will dry a shade darker on my canvas than what it looks like on my palette, okay? So I usually add white to pretty much any color before I use it. Just keeping that in mind, it will dry darker, okay? So once I have a really good load on my brush, you can see this. It is on there pretty thick. I'm gonna start working in my background, okay? And I'm gonna start further away from my nice fluffy lamb and get all my edges in first. That way I can move pretty quickly and I won't have to slow down my brush strokes until I get close to the object that I'm painting. So I'll keep just adding some water when I need to, mixing that up, and just keep going around, okay? Water, you'll notice I use water a lot. We've got to remember that our acrylic paint gets thirsty, okay? So we got to use water as much as we need to whenever our paint is starting to feel super thick and glue-like, okay? Just keep going. You can see I got some in my lamb while I was chatting with you, but we're not gonna worry about that. If that happens, you just keep painting, okay? We can fix that no problem when we get to our next step, okay? So we're just gonna keep going. Now that I've gotten around the edges of my lamb, I'm gonna slow down my stroke so that I can get up close now, okay? And I'll just use the toe of my brush to get in each of those. Remember, toe or ballerina, okay, to get into our smaller sections. Go around our ears here, nice and round. Okay, and all these little sections right here. We're gonna press our brush and then move to the toe. Of course, if you ever feel like you need to switch your brush to a smaller one, you can definitely do that, but I always encourage people to use the brush to their advantage. And remember that one brush can give us many different strokes, okay? So we're just going to use this as long as we can. And you might even have a smaller flat at home with you, which is what I would recommend if you were painting on a smaller surface, like an 8x10 or an 11x14. Mine is a little bit bigger than that, and so I'm going to use a bigger brush. And I'm just going to go around these lines as best I can here. And of course, if we get some in our little lamb, not going to stress out too much about it. We can clean all that up as we start to fill in our little guy later. Okay, so just keep coming around this ear. And again, switching to my toe to get those little sections in there. Got just this little part right here that I got to finish off. Just like this. Okay. Now, if you want to add some fun depth to your background so it's not super flat, before you wash your brush, go ahead and add a nice chunk of white on there. Kind of give it a rough mix in your turquoise. And then you can just kind of start to go around and blend in some lighter streaks here and there. You can even do it with the darker. If you'd rather have darker streaks, you can go back in with the darker paint and just kind of add lights and shadows, and we call values in art, okay? Kind of around your little lamb, give it some personality, some character here. You can go up in your edges a little bit and brush in some of that. Just adding different values as we go. Now what values mean is the light or darkness of a color. So if I'm going dark, I'm going to pull the darker value, or if I'm going to go light, I'll pull the lighter value of turquoise. And just give my background something interesting so it's not just this flat turquoise and it's got this movement to it, okay? So I'll just keep going around that ear, maybe add a little. You can see I'm just moving my brush in the direction of my lamb, okay? And just finding little spots that I feel like might need a little light or a little dark, and I'm just, anytime I just go to my palette, add a little bit, and then pull it around here, and blend it into my background while it's nice and wet. Of course, because acrylic paint needs to be wet if we want to blend it, right? Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about my background, so I'm going to give my big brush a nice good rinse in my water. Really swish it around. You can probably hear that. You want to hear that and you want to see some bubbles happen. Tap off your extra water. All right, let's go ahead and move to a smaller flat. Okay, maybe you've been using a smaller flat the whole time. That's great, just keep using it. I'm going to switch to a small one and I'm going to start to work on my little face, okay? So our face is this nice kind of peachy skin tone, but we're going to add a little bit of white with it. So let's get our bristles wet again. This time I'm going to get them wet in some clean water so that I don't distract from that nice peach color. So I'm going to pull some white over, mix a little bit of white in with that peachy color. It's really important to have that. We don't want it to be too dark. And then I'll just go ahead and start filling in this cute little face. Okay, so the whole thing, got my bow tie down here. Of course, we're trying to stay out of all those lines that our pattern has created on our canvas, but sometimes we get in those lines and that's okay. You don't want to worry too much about that, because paint's pretty forgiving and we can work with it, okay? So you just do the very best that you can and don't be too hard on yourself and just enjoy painting this cute little lamb. Okay, so we almost have that all filled in. Just brushing it in really good. Making sure I don't have too many clumps. I want my face to dry so that I can add all the cute little expressions of the eyes and the nose, okay? So there we've got our cute little face on, and now we're gonna fill in our ears with the same light peachy color. And you can see that that inner ear is in there, but I don't even want you to worry about that. You can paint right over that. This is a good time to shape in your ear. If you kind of got some of that turquoise in there, and you can see that this peach color is pretty light, so you can kind of see some of that inner ear still, and that'll be a good reference for us when we go to put in our nice pink layer in there. Just take this time again to press all the bristles out and shape in that ear. Smooth it out, because when we did our background, maybe we got some of that in there. Okay, now I'm going to load my brush again and go over to this other ear. Same thing, time to clean it up really good. Okay, make sure all that turquoise is nice, cleaned up. Pressing my bristles out so they just kind of fan out, giving myself a nice smooth ear. And it'll push all your paint. You can see that it just pushes all your paint to the edge of your brush, and then you can use that kind of big thick clump of paint to give yourself a nice clean edge. Okay, just like that. Looking pretty good. Okay, let's give our brush a good wash. Swish, swish it around. Kind of give it a rinse in our clean water too. It's usually a good idea to have 2 jars of water. That'll help you so that anytime you need to dilute your paint or thin it out, you'll have clean water to do it so that you don't contaminate your bright colors, okay? Now we're gonna go around all that cotton around his face, that nice fluffy cotton ball look, okay? And we're gonna load our brush all with white, nice white paint on there. Make sure we don't have any of that turquoise in there. It's kind of all meeting together, huh? And then we're gonna just put the darker peach that we haven't mixed with white on the edge of our brush like that. Nice load of peach. Make sure there aren't any drips in our brush, so kind of smooth it out a little bit. And then we're gonna follow those billows all around our little lamb's face, okay? Using that peachy edge against our turquoise background. See that? And we're just gonna, every time we load, I'll put some more on there, and I'll push my bristles out, and I'll clean up my edge. See that? I'm just cleaning up my edge as I go, okay? And I'm pulling in some of those billows so that they kind of look like some are in front of the other. So I'll press, okay? Kind of pull it out. Again, loading my brush to have some on each side there. And I'll try and decide which billows I want to be in front of the other. I think this one I want to just kind of fan it out a little bit more so it looks like it's kind of in front of that other one. Okay, and look, we're getting a nice clean edge all around our turquoise. So I'll load again the same way, put a little in the corner, spread it out if I need to, and then up we go for this one. Now we're just gonna press our bristles and make our nice billows, okay? And so this little lamb is just gonna look so soft and cuddly. I love it so much. Now, this particular step can be kind of tricky. What you're looking for is a nice dark edge and then start to kind of ombre and lighten up as you get into the white, okay? So it takes some practice. So don't be too hard on yourself again. Okay, so here's where I kind of got into my turquoise a little bit. Or I got my turquoise into my lamb. So I'm just gonna get some white on a brush real quick and just do one quick layer right there before I do my little billows. Just to make sure really quick that when I go over there with my nice peach color, that it covers that up. So just remember, you can fix stuff all the time. So if that happens to you, you just keep rolling, okay? So here we go. Oh, and I had my brush flipped the wrong way, so I'll just kind of wipe that a little bit. Make sure that peach is on the outer edge, okay? We're gonna billow again, right there. Nice big billow. Clean up our edge. Load my brush again. Another big billow. Pressing my bristles out so that that nice peach stays on that line. Come right here, here. And it's okay if some of those lines are thicker than others, okay? It doesn't all have to be the same. Remember to just have fun with it, and if we create too many patterns and everything's too perfect, it won't look like we hand painted it, okay? So we want to just be nice to ourselves and just have a good time. So we'll do this one right here. Cleaning up my edges again. Pressing my bristles out. And of course, one more right down there. Okay, now we have these fun ones that are up there closer to our head, forehead area. So I'm still loading my brush the same way. I've got all white and then a little bit of that that peach on there and brushing it through. So I'm going to come through here now and just billow those. I want this center one to be in the foreground, so I'm going to make sure it looks like that by coming up here and just pulling that one right down the center so that everybody can see that that one's in the front, okay? And I'm going to just keep going, loading that brush, and just billow, billow, billow. Okay, nice and fluffy, cute little lamb. You can go over spots a couple times until you're happy with it there. And real quick before I move on, I'm just going to go make sure this part up here is nice and covered. Remember, that's where I got my background into my little lamb, so it might need another layer or two. So I'll just make sure that that section is good to go, okay? So I don't have to wash my brush quite yet because I'm going to go back into my face and it's still that peach color. But remember, it's a little bit lighter. So I'm going to make a little bit more of that. So I've got my darker peach and then my lighter peach right here. Okay, nice and light. Get it nice and mixed. And then with all of that lighter peach on my brush, I'm going to wipe some of it out like so it's not too full. And then put that dark peach on the edge of my brush. And now I'm just going to follow the edges of my face with that darker peach, okay? Just to kind of put in that little shadow right there and clean up that edge. See how I'm pressing those bristles out. Press those bristles. Okay. Do the same thing over here. That darker edge against the cheek there. Press those bristles out. Get up high into that little corner. Pressing. Cleaning up our edge. And then you can kind of wipe your brush out like that and smooth anything real quick. All right, look at that. We are coming along. So let's wash that brush out really good. Give it a nice swish. And I had another brush in there for when I went and touched up that white fluffiness, so I'm going to wash that out at the same time. Okay, let's go ahead and switch. Well, not quite yet. Let's stick with our flat brush for one more step, okay? We're going to go ahead and we're going to put in our nice yellow bow, okay? This is a nice bow tie. I'm going to add some white to my brush again and just lighten up that yellow. Remember, I like to lighten my colors, right? So I'll lighten that yellow up a little bit until I'm happy with it. And then I'll go ahead and come in my little bow tie and I'll fill that in. Again, see how I press those bristles all the way to the edge? It helps me to shape. Look at the shape I get, the nice clean edge I get if I press my bristles. Okay, pressing them, and then I get a nice clean edge. Okay, so now this is at the bottom of my canvas, so I'm going to want to make sure I wrap my bow underneath, right? Gotta wrap the edges of our canvas. So we can go ahead and wrap that around, okay? All right, now I'm going to wash this one out and switch brushes. So I'll swish that around really good and set it aside. And I'll move to my number 6 round, okay? And I'm gonna work on the inside of those ears, give it a little pink. So here's a nice bright pink, and it's too bright for me, so I need to, again, add some white to it and lighten it up. My white's getting all crazy over here, but I'm gonna keep digging because I know there's still some over there. I'm gonna mix until I get a nice light shade of pink. Keep digging. There we go. That's what I want. Now I'm gonna follow that inner line. It's kind of like that teardrop looking shape inside of my ear. Okay, so I'll just come over here and I'll just follow that with my pink, my nice light pink. And I'll just fill that in. again, you can see I press my bristles so I get a nice clean line, okay? Nice and clean. Cute little ear. We'll go ahead and do the other one. Same thing, I'm going to come over here and just press those bristles and then come back around. And remember, you can totally flip your canvas around to make it more comfortable for you. Okay, you don't have to paint with it sitting this way the whole time. You can flip it around if you need to reach certain areas or if you're feeling uncomfortable. No big deal. So we just give that a nice shape. Then we have a cute little inner ear. And before I wash out my brush, I'm going to add just a little bit more white to it. And I'm going to come in the inside. Just make sure that inside of my ear is nice and light. Okay, the inner part of our ear. So just blend in some white. Just kind of brushing it around, and it'll start to turn that super light pink as we go, right? Because that pink is still wet. And this part can be kind of rough because we're going to go back and clean some of that up in just a minute, okay? So there we go. This is looking good. Let's rinse our brush out again. Really good. And I think we're ready to put in some eyes. So this will be nice and fun. I'm going to switch to a really little detail brush, okay? And I'm going to get it wet. And this is really important when we do details. We want to loosen up whatever paint we want to be super thin lines. And if it's loose enough, it'll flow really easily on our canvas and we won't have to fight getting that nice stroke, okay? So I'm going to make sure my black is super loose, okay? I keep going to my water, loosening up my black paint until I have a nice little puddle of paint to work with, okay? Now my little lamb's eyes are closed, okay? Of course you can have open eyes if you want. This is your masterpiece. You can switch it up. Mine are going to be shut. And I'm going to keep this little center as my reference, okay? Both of my eyes are going to kind of start right in these little corners, okay? So I'm going to keep that as my reference point, and then I'm just going to make these little like frowny face shapes, okay? Or rainbow shapes, if that is a better reference for you. So here we go. I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to make that frowny face shape, and then pull it up like that, okay? So just kind of whoops at the end, because that's one of our little eyelashes. Okay, so again, I'll use the same reference. I'm going to come over to this corner now for my next eye, okay? Let's see, try and start at about the same point, okay? And then just go up and around and then swish, okay? Another little eyelash, okay? And then I like to just give it one more little lash. So I'll come over here and just flip another one just like that. Same thing over here. Just come down and flip another eyelash. So we've got two little eyelashes. Of course, you can add more, but I'm just going to have two for mine. And then up here, I'm going to do just a little tiny eyebrow. Just a little one right there. And then another little one on this side. Cute little lamb. Okay, now it's got kind of a crooked smile, maybe a little mischievous. So we're going to come down right here and just have this little crooked smile, okay? Cute little lamb. Now let's go ahead and shape in a nose, and I wanted a cute kind of lopsided heart nose, but if you're getting inspired in another direction, totally just go for it, okay? I'm going to stick with my lopsided heart. So this side is a little bit shorter, and then this side comes up a little bit more, see? And it kind of has that lopsided heart, okay? And you can go ahead and fill that in, just nice and gently. You can even switch to your number 6 round if you want to fill it in. I've got this one with me and ready to go. So I'm just going to use it, but I'm going to use it very gently because We have to be super kind to our detail brushes, or they won't give us details. They'll get a bad hair day, and then we won't be able to get those nice little lines, okay? So be nice and gentle with that detail brush. Just fill it all in. Look at our little lamb just coming together. Okay, let's wash out that detail brush. Let all those steps dry real quick for us. Okay, let's go ahead and switch back to our flat brush. Okay, I've got my flat here, and I'm going to go back into my cute little bow tie, and I'm going to load my brush with that light yellow that I mixed for my first layer of my bow tie. Load it, and then just kind of brush the edge with the original darker yellow. Okay, and I'm going to use that edge to kind of give definition to my little bow tie. So I'm going to compress that dark edge up and around my bow tie, come in a little bit right there, and then same right here. Okay, so I'll come in just gently with that dark edge, but not too much. And I'll do the same thing over here. We'll go up and around and come in just slightly, and then kind of close in that part right there. And then of course we have to have that center knot right in our bow tie. So I'll go ahead and press that edge around for the center of my bow. No problem. Okay, let's wash that out really good. Give it a nice good rinse. Check it in our clean water to make sure we washed it properly. Tap it off. And we're gonna go back into our little ears real quick for another step, okay? Load with that nice light pink. Maybe I'll add just a little more white to it, loosen it up. Okay, and then on the edge of my brush, that dark pink, you'll notice we do this a lot. This is a nice way to get definition, is to add that darker edge. So right on the edge of my brush, and I'll come to my ears with that darker edge. Might need a little bit more on my brush here, so I'll load a little more. With that darker edge, I'm just going to go around my ear. Okay, again, I'm pressing my bristles, right? That'll help me get the shape that I need. And then it just gives that ear a nice definition. Okay, so we'll do the same thing over here. Press my bristles, shape my ear. So we have that nice darker edge, right? And of course it's lighter in the middle. Oh, he's a cute little guy. Or she. You know, this could be whatever you want it to be, right? It's your lamb. All right, you guys, I think we're ready for some cute little cheeks. So before I wash my brush, I'm gonna go into that white, make sure that pink is extra light this time. So add more white to that pile, nice light pink, and then I'll find a clean spot on my plate. Let's twist it around, and I'll kind of shush it off a little bit, okay? Gonna rub it off. And now with a mostly empty brush, I'm gonna just kind of start to circle in some rosy cheeks. Look how light they are. I'm just feathering. Picture a feather on your cheek and how soft that would be. That's how soft we want to go. And over here, same thing, just nice feathering a nice circle. Give it a nice rosy cheek. Okay, and then I'll just put a little bit of that dark pink on one corner of my brush, just lightly. And I'll just come over here and I'll just make sure I brush in a little bit of a darker value. Remember, if you learned something today, it could be the word value, right? A little darker. Come over here, do the same thing. Add a little bit of dark to that edge, just slightly, not too much. This pink can take over really quickly, so we don't want to do that, but we just want to add just a little bit of definition to our cute little cheeks so they're nice and rosy. Rosy cheeks. Okay, we are just about done. I'm gonna rinse my brush again. Lots of washing. Make sure you're washing really good in between each step. Okay, into my clean water. Let's just take our nice clean brush with clean water in it. Literally just water and our bristles and some white paint. If we can get some clean, I'm gonna come over here. Look, I found a little bit of white there. You can always find it. Just gotta dig for it. So I've got that white on my brush. I'm gonna come into my bow and I'm gonna define that section right there. See that? I wanna make that little part nice and defined, so I'll brush in some white right there and just a little bit right there. So I'll just do the same thing over here. That's that opening of our bow. The light's kind of hitting it in there. So press our brush, our bristles out like that really well. Okay, again, it's just a wet brush with white paint on the edge and just swish that in. Let's just swish that in, and then this little edge. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and make sure we get that center too. This little circle needs a little bit of a highlight right there, so we'll just put that in. Okay, and then we have a nice defined bow. Make sure that comes all the way to that edge there, right there. I like it. Okay, wash my brush again. Nice and clean. Back to my detail. Little bit of white on my detail. If I can dig in some clean white, look, I just stick it in there. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm out of paint, I'm out of paint, and then there's so much paint. Okay, let's go up to our nose and just put a cute little highlight in our nose. Look at that. Doesn't that add so much, just that little bit of white? And I think we did it with that white on my brush. I'm gonna go ahead and sign my name because I wanna sign my name in white paint for this painting because it's a super light, happy, springy painting. So I'm gonna load with some white paint. I'm gonna find a spot that just makes me happy, maybe right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and sign my name just like that. All right, you guys, we painted this cute little lamb together and I had so much fun. And this little guy just makes my heart happy. So I hope that you are feeling the same way about your painting. Let's make sure we always wash our brushes really good when we're finished. We want to take care of our brushes, put them away, let our painting dry for a good 30 minutes to an hour, and then display it proudly because we worked hard. Thank you so much, you guys. I can't wait to paint with you again. Bye-bye.